was at that point that I knew something was very, very wrong.
As a hybrid athlete currently in training for a marathon, I train a lot. And to be able to fuel my body for those training sessions, I have to eat a lot. So in today's video, I thought I'd walk you through everything that I eat during a day of training, especially today, because today I'm running 8 miles and hitting a leg session at the gym. So without further ado, let's start with meal number 1. You've seen me make it a ton of times, good old-fashioned protein oatmeal. In this concoction, I have 2 servings of dry oats, or about 80 grams, 1 serving of chocolate vegan protein powder by Bare Performance Nutrition, and about 1 cup or a serving of almond milk. Now you can use more or less milk or liquid if you want to make it more sludgy or more liquidy, but I prefer it to be a little more on the sludgy side. The macros for this meal are at the bottom here, and as you can see, this meal is high in carbohydrates and then moderately high in proteins and low in fats. It's simple, it's high in protein, and it gives me the amount of carbohydrates that I need for my first training session of the day, which is usually my run. So I'm gonna dig into this, do some work, go on my run, and I'll meet you back for meal number 2. Run complete.
You gave me time, you gave me something to believe in. Smile, I'm saving face another weekend. Fake another cry, I'm feeling older. Read some other words to win me over. Safe to say you're never gonna leave me. Hate to say my mind is ever sleeping. Complicate the truth I'm never giving. Hesitating every single moment. I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling.
So here we have a full bag of chicken breast that I cooked up using some salt and pepper and some taco seasoning on top, nothing too fancy. And over here we have 8 servings of rice, along with 1 small jar of 4 pepper salsa and a can of diced tomatoes, all together to make some Spanish rice. Meal number 2 is 195 grams of cooked chicken and about 2 servings of rice made with salsa. Now the macros are going to be here at the bottom of the screen. So the quality session of this workout consisted of 4 1-mile repeats with half a mile in between to get the heart rate back down to about 145 beats per minute. The first mile was a 7:07, the second mile was a 7:08, the third mile was 7:11, and the fourth mile was 7:12. And that all culminated to be a total of 8.1 miles. At the beginning of the workout, I felt like crap. After 2.5 miles of warming up, I still didn't feel like I was warmed up. But I went for it anyway, and I thought I was going to be running around an 8-minute per mile pace. And it ended up that after about a quarter to half a mile in the first interval, I was averaging about a 7:10 minute per mile pace. And after a few minutes of doing that, my body started warming up to that and started getting used to running at the faster pace. And one of the things I've been worried about is that I feel like I haven't really gotten faster over the last 3 or 4 months. I think it's just my legs have been doing so many slower miles that they're just not used to having a quick turnover, and my legs aren't used to getting fast miles anymore. So over the next 4 weeks or so in the next block of training, my plan is to incorporate some sort of extra speed training at the end of one of my easy runs. So that could look like 10 hill sprints or just 10 wind sprints at the end of an easy run, just so my legs get used to running those faster miles again and my lungs get used to taking in all that oxygen and converting it to whatever it needs to do inside the body to make me run faster.
Oh, come on. It was at that point that I knew something was very, very wrong. And the only thing that I could do was resort to what any logical person would have done in that situation. Just use the camera on my phone.
I found love in the falls, so I feel it in the throat. Anger lift off my shoulders. If I could know, carry all the liberty on my way. I finally get to where I'm going. Feel the water fade and store my days. Oh, I found you.
Welcome to meal number 3. Now I have the MyFitnessPal app pulled up on my phone just to track what I've eaten today to see where we are. And I haven't used the MyFitnessPal app in about a year and a half. And I don't really track my macros other than protein. And the only way I do that is just by running through in my head about what I think I've had for the day. And I try to keep my protein intake at 1 gram per pound of body weight. So right now I'm between 143 pounds and 145 pounds. So that means I need to get around 143 to 145 grams of protein per day. That's a good number. I actually probably need to get somewhere closer to around 110 to 120 grams of protein per day just to be on the scientifically safe side to preserve the muscle that I have. So this meal is again grilled cheese. And this time, there are 4 cheeses. So I went ahead and made the grilled cheeses with the bread and the 4 cheeses here. And then used this scale just to double check what the recommendations were on the labels versus the actual pieces of food. For example, the serving size for this bread is 2 slices, or 49 grams. I had 2 servings of that, which would be 98 grams. However, when I weighed it out, it was 107 grams for my 4 pieces. So that's something you gotta watch out for. Ah, my arm hurts, dang! The other thing I ate was cottage cheese, because cottage cheese is very high in protein. You gotta watch out though, because cottage cheese is also high in fats, just like the other cheeses. But cottage cheese especially, this one is 4% milk fat minimum and 5 grams of fat per serving. I ended up having just under 2 servings. So I finished this off, and I'll have the macros again on the bottom of the screen here. Now let's jump into MyFitnessPal and something called the TDEE calculator and how that helps me figure out exactly how much I should be eating. Welcome to Computer World. So this is the TDEE calculator. What does TDEE stand for? Well, it stands for Total Daily Energy Expenditure, and it's a measure of how many calories you burn per day. This calculator will also display your BMI, your BMR, and your macros like carbs, proteins, fats, and other useful statistics. Because that's always fun, right? So, we have to enter a few things. We will start with gender, of which there are only 2. I am a male. I am also 26 years old. My weight is 144 lbs. I am a staggering 5 foot 6 pounds. Just got off the phone with the NBA. I will be drafted tomorrow. My exercise is heavy exercise, and I'm about 15% body fat according to my scale. So based on my stats, the best estimate for maintenance calories is 2,700 calories per day. Down here it shows my macros that I would need to hit to be able to stay at maintenance calories or keep the weight that I'm at. Then you have cutting and bulking. I'm trying to cut a little bit. I'm looking here at the higher carb because I want to have maximum performance when it comes to endurance and have like max energy when it comes to both endurance and have powerful output in the gym. So these are just a little bit off of what I would have. I would have 140 grams of protein, about 75 to 85 grams of fat, and then about 300 carbs. And those all total out to be about 2,700 calories per day. So this is the fun part. We have about 1,300 calories left to eat, and it's about 11 o'clock, but I have 1,300 calories to eat. What am I gonna do? So one good thing is that because I have enough protein and because I've eaten a lot today, I'm okay with under eating a little bit. The other thing is that we're about 7 weeks out from the race, and my current weight is just a little bit too high from what I would like to be for a race day. My race weight that I'd like to be is somewhere between 138 to 140 pounds. So that's about 0.5 to 0.7 pounds per week. So if I eat about 7 to 800 more calories, that's going to be about a 500 calorie deficit. And if I do that for 1 week, 7 days, that's 3,500 calories. That's 1 pound. Now, 1 pound per week for me is a little bit too much, but just thinking of that math-wise, it's okay, and it's going to get me to the goal race weight that I'd like to be. Now I know it might not seem healthy or ideal, but sometimes you just need the calories. And sometimes it's okay to have your cravings, especially when you burn 1,100 calories working out. But even though it is okay sometimes to eat what you're craving or to have a snack that's not super healthy, it's not okay to eat it all the time, especially when you're like me, trying to get the most optimal performance and food is being used as fuel as it was intended rather than a hyper palatable thing that just tastes good. So these are definitely not on the menu every single day. But again, sometimes they are. And with that, I'm going to wrap up the video here. I still have about 200 to 300 calories to eat, and honestly, I don't want to eat them, but I'll give you the final macro and calorie count for the day. They'll be on the screen here, but I'll read them off to you. So my goal is 50% carbohydrates, 30% fats, and 20% protein. And today, my total was 50% carbs, 28% fat, and 22% protein. So the carbohydrates were 340 grams, fat was 83 grams, and protein was 148 grams. For carbohydrates and proteins, you multiply the amount of grams times 4 grams per calorie, you get the total calories. And for fats, the number is 9 you have to multiply by. The total calories for the day, once I eat 200 to 300 more, will be 2,863, or about 2,900. So in a given day, when I do 2 to 3 hours of exercise, whether that's running and lifting, a double run, or 2 lifts, which I probably wouldn't do on a normal basis, I'm burning anywhere from 2,500 to about 3,000 calories. So there you go. That's what I eat on a full day of training for a marathon and lifting. We'll see you in the next video. If this gave you any information or helped at all, or just entertaining, hit the like button. I'll see you in the next one. I just realized, God, my hair looks bad. I need a haircut. Look at that. Oh my gosh, how am I supposed to attract all the ladies if my hair's looking like this? Jeez.